Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hello everyone, tuning back in here. We are in dump mode, and we were anticipating dump mode when the 4-hour time frame gave us our clear bear break as we were heading into the other night. Made the video about the lower highs and the must hold little higher low. We broke all support, and it's been nothing but a bear fest ever since. So if you're all cash, this is a welcome sign. I am getting ready to play a bounce, but I'm being very cautious. I'm waiting for the trade to come to me. We're in charge here. We're the bosses, so we don't need to, go to the market looking for trades. If the market's going to bring a trade to us, absolutely. If it's going to meet my criteria and the setup that I want, I'll take that trade. If it doesn't, I'm not going to play it because this chart is not running away from us. The price for the bulls, there's no FOMO for the bulls. Whenever we see spikes, we see the bears come back. So right now we're in a downtrend on the daily time frame very clearly. So as we are bulls, we need to be more picky and be trading less and wait for that ideal opportunity. So we did see a little bounce short term here on the big three just recently. I barely got filled. I got a very small fill, and it's because I'm looking for lower. I'm looking for more significant pullback here in the short term, and I'm going to be keeping a close eye on 7,000 for Bitcoin. So here's the daily time frame. Let's start it off there. So the daily time frame, the first red flag, just looking back at a little hindsight, we had our strong bounce. We were looking for the higher low and the potential of a higher high after that to give us the weekly equilibrium. So let's go do a little recap on what we were looking for. And once we broke this level, or I should say once we didn't confirm this bullish reversal candlestick for that healthy consolidation and then continuation, that's the first red flag this next day, and that was on March 24th. And then once we broke that low, that was another red flag. And every time one of these little events that I say is a red flag, every time that occurs, that decreases the odds of a certain thing playing out and increases the odds of the different scenario. So the bears gained favor and increased the chances that we were going to see weakness and head back down to the lows more and more, first by not confirming the bullish reversal candlestick and then by breaking to a lower low. And then of course the 4-hour break that we highlighted is another sample that, again, red flag, increases the odds for the bears, decreases the chances for the bulls. So where we stand right now, we are looking at the daily time frame in an area of no support. So we broke this support level of our recent 7,310 low. We are only just breaking it by $60. I'm looking at 7,000 psychological because the next previous price level is the dump from back in February of 5,873. So that's not even in the picture at this point. It's 7,000 psychological that my ideal setup, if the trade's going to come to me, we're going to get a $7,000 flush. We're going to get an hourly RSI at about 20, and then I'm going to start to look for the V-shaped recovery climax kind of bounce that I love so much. So I'm not saying that I'm not going to play anything unless that happens, but that's the setup that I'm looking for, and I'm going to be patient to see it play out tonight if we do see this continued weakness. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, we see the bears are in complete control. We've got a 4-hour RSI down at currently 28. If we do drop down to 7,000, this RSI is going to be in the mid to low 20s, which is what we want to see looking for that bounce climax. The hourly RSI currently is at 26. Again, if we were to drop down in the next 6 hours to 7,000 psychological support, that RSI is going to be around 20. Historically speaking, we scroll back and say, why does 20 matter? And the answer is because we very rarely stay below 20 hourly RSI for long at all. And I'm looking back right now in the last 4 months, and I can see a couple dips to touch it and V-shaped recoveries right off of those levels. So that's what we're looking for this time as well. Again, lower highs, lower lows. This bounce on the 15-minute time frame, it was nice and all, but look at the hourly chart. Stay in perspective because we did not change the trend. We had a bounce attempt that rejected from here at 7,565, and this was just another lower high at 7,551. And now we're dumping down to lower lows. So that tells us the bear trend is still intact. The bears still have favor. I want high volume. I want climax. When we see those climaxes, those are the biggest gains and the best days that I personally have trading this space. So that's the setup that I'm looking for. And I haven't been trading very actively the past couple of weeks. I've been making a couple trades and have some small profit, but I'm waiting for a setup like this where we either get a bull break on the daily time frame, which obviously isn't happening anytime soon, or one of these oversold dump scenarios. So checking in on Ethereum, as we know, Ethereum is coming from a much weaker spot, which is why I am choosing Ethereum on this bounce. It might not end up being the biggest bouncer. Litecoin has been the reigning king of biggest V-shaped recovery bounces in terms of percentage gains, but Ethereum is in a scenario where that could change depending on how significant the bounce and how aggressive the shorts have to get to cover during that bounce. So if you're all cash right now, go check and see how much BTC, how much ETH and LTC you can buy right now, because right now with my account, it's the most ETH that I've been able to buy in a very long time. And that's a great sign. Again, if you're all cash, you got nothing to worry about and you're waiting for those scenarios to appear, because we just are waiting for setups where the trades, or I should say where the odds are most favorable in certain scenarios. So here we have seen a big pullback with the daily RSI down at 18. Again, this is extremely oversold. We will bounce soon on ETH, and I'm going to be a part of that bounce. So here we are looking down at psychological 400 breaking. So now I'm looking down at 350 psychological. We scroll out on the daily. This is the lowest price we've seen in months. There's no clear support level nearby. 415 has broken. I'm looking down at 400. Let's see. So the next level is really down at 350, 350.50, and that is a nice round psychological number to be watching. And I'm going to be scaling in maybe 10% positions for ETH on the way down. I'm not going to try and nail the bottom and time the bottom, because we're so oversold longer term. I can have a longer term perspective on this bounce. I'm not looking, I'm not too worried about a scenario where the daily RSI gets down to single digits or anything like that. That's not going to happen unless there is significant news behind it. So we're looking now at a bounce again. I'll probably start scaling in. I'm using BTC as my guide. BTC RSI levels are what I am making my decisions on for trading ETH and LTC. So if Bitcoin RSI is not at a point where I'm comfortable, if it's not oversold enough, even though ETH RSI is oversold, I will hold off and wait for Bitcoin to get to the point. So it's essentially like I'm trading Bitcoin. I'm just using the different coin to do it with ETH. So for Bitcoin right now, the hourly RSI is 25. I am comfortable initiating scaling in when we are in the lower 20s on this hourly RSI. So I do have some orders stacked on ETH right now, and I could get filled pretty shortly. I got filled earlier, like I said, on my first order in the low 30 or 395s, and I just flipped that quickly because, again, that's not the climax. That's not the bounce I'm looking for. I'm looking for, all-out climax dumps. You guys know if you've been watching these videos, and if you use the alert service and our oversold climax indicator, speaking of which, right on time, let's pull up ETH on this 4-hour oversold climax alert. Earlier today, 396 is when it triggered, and then we got a 6% bounce all the way up to the 418s. So again, the alert service, even though we're in this downtrend, there are opportunities for the bulls. We just have to be very picky, and we have to be quick. We have to lock in profits sooner than we are normally used to. But even just a couple percent on this move is definitely a big time victory if you are playing bullish in a bearish market. And that's something I want to touch on. Obviously, if you have the ability to short, this market favors the bears very significantly at this point. That being said, I would not be entering any bearish positions at these levels because we are anticipating a bounce. Once the bounce tires out, maybe a couple days that it plays out, a day or two, then it's time to look bearish again because the bears have the trend. So there have been really significant gains for these bears. Don't want to just sweep that under the rug because I'm personally not able on Coinbase and GDAX to be trading bearish, but someday I will be, and look out. So 4-hour RSI is at 20, extremely oversold. We look back historically, it's just under 20. And again, you look historically and the dips dip right below 20 and then bounce back. Certainly doesn't stay there long. But if Bitcoin's going to give us this 7,000 flush climax, which is what I would love to see, I would anticipate that Ethereum is going to drop down into potentially the 370s or so, maybe even 360s. So again, I'm being very patient. I'm scaling and spacing these orders out and letting the trade come to me. Checking in on the hourly, the RSI, not too oversold at this point because of that bounce. And again, that solid bounce from 395, that alert, the oversold climax alert, went out $1 from the low. And then obviously opportunity to lock in that profit before we drop down to lower lows, which is where we are at right now. Bears still in control and things getting to extreme levels. Checking in on Litecoin. Litecoin is very weak as well. The LitePay news certainly did not help the bulls. It's only adding fuel to the fire for the bears. So we're dropping down for the 5th red day in a row. The daily RSI is now down at 26. The 4-hour RSI oversold with that weak bounce. We're down now at 24 4-hour RSI, and the hourly RSI is just getting back to oversold again. So again, in terms of most oversold name, there's no question it's ETH out of the big three. Litecoin is, like I said, the reigning king in the percentage bounce category, so it is entirely possible that we see that again. It is more thinly traded, and a little bit of dollar volume goes a long way. So when you have those bulls buying and those shorts covering at the same time, we see huge gains very quickly on those V-shaped recoveries. And as far as Bitcoin goes, easier to scale in and out of larger positions if you're trading Bitcoin, but the gains historically are better in some of these other names. So that's where we stand right now. We are seeing weakness down at the lows and going to begin scaling in to some ETH position in just a bit here. So we'll continue to monitor into tomorrow. Again, we're looking for that climax and oversold bounce. Ideal scenario for me, 7,000 flush climax, V-shaped recovery, high volume bounce. We'll see how it plays out. I appreciate you watching. Going to continue working on the crypto edition. I know it's a slow road to do it. Trust me, I'm well aware, but it'll come eventually, and I'm going to work on that again this weekend. Going to be recording some stuff about psychology and more the other side of the market, because as we know, it's not just book learning with technical analysis. The psychology certainly comes into play. So I appreciate you all watching. Hope you continue to do good things out there, and we will check back in tomorrow, hopefully with a nice bounce entry opportunity and the bounce playing out.